So this box had a coil in it, which is right here. I think this thing is already close to like 15 years old. So we're going to be installing a new old stock air conditioner. We're giving a guy a decent deal on the system because it's still running R22, but just kind of strange that we're going to put in a brand new R22 system and it's 2025. So these units were, I think, shipped dry, so they don't have any refrigerant in them, I don't think, because it was back in that era. But you can see there's some oxidation on here from it sitting in the warehouse and in the storage for so long. A 3-ton system should hopefully work fine with the expansion valve because obviously it's got a little age on it already, even though it's brand new. But I don't really think it'll be a problem. And here's the condenser. And the reason why we've had it so long is it was for a job a long time ago, and you can see it is 208, 230 volt, 3-phase, and we just don't sell a lot of 3-phase equipment. In any case, we ended up stuck with this unit. But we finally have a job where it would work, so we're selling this system to him for about half of what it would normally cost to get a new 410A or A2L refrigerant. So it's a good deal for him, and it's a good deal for us because we can use up this old stock, beautiful Copeland reciprocal compressor. So this must be the other reason we have it. It must be that it was actually a scratch and dent when we got it, or it became a scratch and dent at some point. But like I said, the guy that we're selling it to has been informed that this thing is new, but it's old. So I don't think he'll be concerned about it. It looks pretty similar to what we're still installing, except for modern air conditioners are pretty much all aluminum coils instead of these nice repairable copper ones. And reciprocal compressors, I think, are kind of a thing of the past. Mostly we're using scroll compressors on everything now. So we just looked at the serial number. And if you look at it, 0898. So I think that's the 8th month of 1998 from what the boss man was saying. So it's a pretty old unit. But it's gonna be put to work. So here's the one that is being replaced. There's the line set. We are gonna reuse the line set. We'll put in a new filter dryer. Kind of interesting that they put a sight glass in there. I'm gonna leave it because I kind of like it. It's kind of neat. But yeah, this is gonna be its new home. Here on this roof. There's tons of hornets up here. So this is the sketchy part. We have to lift it down. Just don't touch those wires behind you or you'll die. Hands under it. Turn it a little bit toward you. Sweet. We got it. Yeah, everything about this is not very nice. We do have the arms locked though, so we won't die if the hydraulics break. So we're going to use the existing air handler and existing line set, as I said before. This is our piece of duct that we've set up. So it's got the coil already installed in it. So if someone has to access the coil in the future, they'll just have to cut their own access, which is no big deal. This is going to be on the return side. And then built this piece in order to increase the amount of air that's going into here. And the filter rack is also what supports the coil. So if you pull that out, you can see the coil supported directly right there. 16 by 20. And then there's a filter cover which just snaps on over top of that. So yeah, should work really beautifully. This system did also have 2 filter dryers, so Simeon put in a new one here. We're gonna get rid of the one outside. So I swaged out the copper here and just have the fittings placed there, and we're just gonna go ahead and braze it. In typical old-fashioned air conditioning style, we're not going to braze with nitrogen because, yeah. I always like to start with the ones that I'm not leaning over, so I'll do this one last. So this thing is actually factory charged with 5.38 pounds of R22. Brazed up nicely. As you can see, if you take a 3/4 inch street fitting, it goes neatly into 7/8. So that's how I connected those. These waited a long time to be brazed up. But yeah, looks like they're good. We're going to go inside and get the piping connected in there. Of course, I brazed with the Schrader valves removed from the system. Wow, check it out. I just pulled off the cover. It looks beautiful in there. It smells beautiful. These contactors, you don't see this style out and about anymore. And awesome. I don't know why this blue wire is not hooked to anything. It's kind of weird. See, new equipment doesn't have this random blue wire. What is it, a crank heater maybe? Just goes down with the compressor. That's weird. Does anyone know what this is for? I'm gonna obviously have to figure it out before I can hook things up, but oh, I know what it's for. Duh. Okay. So we should have 3 going to the compressor. 1, 2, and 3. Which, yep, there are blue, yellow, black, and one of these just gets hooked directly to the lead that's coming in, because that enables them to use a 2-pole contactor instead of a 3-pole contactor. So we wire nut one directly, hook the other 2 up to the contactor, and then it'll work. That's kind of weird. Maybe most 3-phase units are shipped like this, but I don't think that this is a common thing that's done anymore, so that's kind of interesting. Do you guys use channel lock for tightening these, or do you guys use a hammer and a flat screwdriver? So I don't want this to break out like it did on the other one, so I'm actually going to strap it right up here. I'm going to use the existing screw. Let's do it like that. That should work nicely. It'll just kind of help keep that from breaking the knockout out. And we got the wires hooked up. I just separated the strands and put them up either side, and then wire nutted the other one. And now we just got to hook up the low voltage. But I got to get a little extension because the piece of wire from here to here was in horrible condition. Simeon, what happened there?
It was necessary.
Typical apprentice behavior, falling through the ceiling. Shouldn't have brought the apprentice up onto the ceiling with us. Oh no. And so you stepped between the boards?
For a split second, yeah.
That's all it takes. That's all.
But there was also a random board.
Well, I'm glad you didn't fall into the meat grinder. So yeah, it kind of looks like it could be really nice strong wood, but it is not. So while you guys were lifting this into place,
you slip on the board or something, or what?
I don't know.
It happened so fast. I was on this side.
Yep.
Yeah. All of a sudden the light went out.
You unplugged the light.
Yeah, the light.
Nice. And then there was light coming through the floor, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like that.
I thought I was gonna step on one of those boards. But
Well, you were close to it.
Yes.
Or did you step right there? I guess you stepped right there probably. Scary. Yeah, earlier I was like, those look kind of strong, but I think I would still stand on these. We were kind of discussing it.
I'm sure they're probably just nailed in.
Yeah.
If you just stand on them, they're probably right, but if you slip and...
Or if you're carrying like the coil and ductwork and stuff.
If it slips and falls, then I'm sure you're...
I think that's going to work really nice. Looks good. Look how nice and clean the copper looks. When we pulled the plugs out of here, it actually still had pressure in it, which is kind of amazing. So this air conditioner is quite literally older than me that we're putting in here today. The Schrader's back in. Hook up the piping. Hoses. And then we're gonna pull a vacuum on it because it's all brazed up. So we don't see any leaks on the fittings, inside or out. So I think we're gonna vac it down. So I swapped out the fuses with 20 amp. This is a max fuse or circuit of 20. Max fuse 20. There was 30s in here, I think. So that'll be good. Yeah, should be pretty much ready to start the thing up. Well, once it's done vacuuming down. So there it is, actually installed. The hole got bigger because accidentally put our arm in it. Or bended. Got the bulb installed. Unfortunately, you have to kind of duck underneath this to get to the filter because we put it on this side. But I didn't really see a better option. But yeah, it should work good. See how that transition brings the air from the duct into our smaller piece here. It appears to have worked out pretty good. So now we find out if it still has any refrigerant left in it for all those years. Oh, wow. Yeah, it definitely does. It's crazy. It still has refrigerant in it. A lot, too. Yeah. Oh, look at it go. That's awesome. All those years sitting there with that port open. Look at that. That is sweet. Okay. I was half expecting it to just go like and be like almost nothing in there. But yeah, lots of refrigerant. So we're ready to actually start this thing up, listen to it run. Alright, so I'm going to supply power to it. And then we're going to push the contactor in and make sure that the pressures drop right away. They are dropping right away. So that means the compressor is spinning the correct direction. Now we'll just wait for the thermostat to actually bring it on. So that's good. She runs just fine after waiting to be installed for 27 years, which is just kind of wild. Seems to be good, nicely built stuff. So I guess I shouldn't really be that surprised, but still just kind of surprising. I mean, literally, yeah, 27-year-old air conditioner. Seems like it's going to run fine. There it is, started up. The air coming out of it actually feels pretty warm already. So maybe we're not really gonna have to add much, which would be a surprise to me. To me it looks like we're not getting liquid to the expansion valve. And the line feels pretty warm, so I think we've got no subcooling. So I'm gonna add a couple pounds, or maybe a pound in, and see how it stabilizes. But wow, that's awesome. Yep, we're cooling. Sweet. So the temperature up here is 85. You can see the ductwork is already beginning to sweat a little bit. This is a conditioned space, it's just that it hasn't had any air conditioning for a long time. But let's just see what our temperature is inside the ductwork. Don't know how in the airfoil we are right there. 68. So it is cooling.
Yep.
So I just primed the trap with that wet rag by squeezing some water into this. And it was really cool. I should have been videoing, but you can see now we've got condensate flowing. But quite literally before it wasn't flowing any condensate yet. Once I squeezed some water into here so that it filled this up enough to cover, then a ton of condensate just started dumping out down the line. You can see it coming in. So when you have a condensate drain on the return side, it's pulling air into the ductwork like that. So even if you have the drain all ready to go, if you don't actually prime the trap, it won't drain. And it'll flood out of the pan and just be dripping out of the ductwork and making a huge mess. But yeah, now we're pulling out humidity like crazy. So we're at about
I've heard of some guys
109,
based on the size and the length of the
96.
line.
All right, and there it is. I measured the subcooling coming out and got it adjusted to 10 degrees. And when I did, the sight glass went perfectly clear. I should have been videoing because it was kind of amazing how perfectly synced with the 10 degrees of subcooling the sight glass going clear was. But anyway, yeah, looks like we're good.